Oh my goodness. I have the wrong backdrop. The backdrop I have is the one where we are going to do a chat now in 20 minutes. We're going to do mantras to take light and dragons, which are galactic spirit guides, to try and clear up the Satanism in the Vatican and to try to take care of the issue of the 300,000 children that are missing. And every time they say they found 200 kids, 500 kids, 300,000. And as I have explained before, when we decided to address the issue of the 300,000 children, I said, we have to find out why it is. I said it to somebody last night, to my daughter. I said, you get one Hispanic kid that's missing, you have all the aunts, all the uncles, all the grandparents, the parents, and the cousins, and the second cousins, they're all screaming until that kid is found. You can't have 300,000 Hispanic kids missing without a lot of screaming. That doesn't stop. And you do. Well, there we go with the reason why I exist, to teach you white magic. And to teach you white magic, I had to figure out the dark magic. What they have figured out, the bad guys, the cartels, is how to do something called tapar, which means to cover. And you can do that for incidents, for people, for situations. I did not know they knew how to do this on entire populations, and certainly they dumbed down the United States. So I guess it's not a coincidence that that backdrop is there when it's not supposed to be the backdrop. Let me put on the proper backdrop, which is this one. Okay. But let's go on with maps that God gives us, things that happen that we're supposed to pay attention to. Let's go ahead and look at my hair. Now, if I allow it, I end up with no hair on my forehead. Just not a good look for me. How did that happen? Well, somebody cut it, obviously. I tried to cut it. I couldn't get it right. I had a beautician cut it. It's not right. So why would I need that? To be humiliated? Because I really think it's humiliating. No, because I was thinking about it. How do I get, what do I put, scotch tape to make it stay down? That's my third eye. So a lot of the cartels, several cartels work on my third eye. The Cuban cartel, the ones that are in Venezuela that want to control mining, the weaponized FBI and CIA work on my third eye. That's my weapon against them. And the Vatican, since I found in one of their Catholic hospitals associated with the Cuban cartel in Miami that they were doing satanic rituals on me to try to take me down. So my group has been going there, and now in 20 minutes we'll be going back there again. Okay, but what does that have to do with my bangs? What it has to do with my bangs is that I might not have remembered, because they know how to wipe out memory. And actually, the information that I have, the main focus of the Vatican cartel on Francis Fox is to wipe out my memory. What don't they want me to remember? That they were there in Operation Peter Pan, which is the first largest sex trafficking and child trafficking operation in the history of this side of the planet? They don't want me to remember that? But maybe there's other stuff I don't remember. So the Cuban cartel, which I used to call the Cuban mafia, which is totally created by politicians and in Washington, D.C., and hold hands with them, is totally controlled by the Vatican since the Bay of Pigs, since before the Bay of Pigs. They set up Operation Peter Pan. So my god-awful bangs, I can attribute to the Vatican. The fact that I have some strange lights in my eyes, and I have all these floaters in the last 2 weeks, and this eye, it's actually better today, has been substantially smaller than the other eye. I can attribute it mainly at this point to the Vatican. So this is not just that they were doing a satanic ritual on me that they were aware of. It is that this has been throughout history. And people have accused them of that. And then it's like, oh, everybody falls asleep. That's the black magic that's like a veiling. I just didn't know that they could do it to entire populations. I do remember years ago when for some reason in Cuba, from one day to the next, not Operation Mariel boat lift, no, a couple years after that, all these guys were throwing themselves into the water on inner tubes and boats that were not going to float more than a block. It was like a craziness, and I thought, what the hell is that? They know that they're not going to make it. And it wasn't like a little gang, it was a lot of people. And when I checked, it was a type of mind control that they had done on the masses, and they were experimenting on those people in Cuba. Like, get on whatever. You got two pieces of plywood, nail them together, get on it, and try to get to Miami, to Florida. So this whole thing with magic is incredibly important. Even more important now that we're going to have a coming together with the aliens. But let me stop with that for a second. Let's go to the map because I really don't have that much time today. Because I said I'm going to set up the chat with the Vaticans and Satanism, because that's what they were doing to me in that hospital, in the morgue in the hospital, and the whole thing with the 300. I said, I'm going to set it up, and whatever happens, I'm going to do it. So I set it up today at 4. Not a great time, but I just needed to anchor it. Okay, so here's the map of the United States. Canada's flatlining. Those are frequencies at the top. Flatlining. The United States has great protection. Purple, Merkaba. Merkaba is your galactic vehicle. But I did not know, and I think most people don't know, that that is your energy body that will have you access galactic other energy bodies that are yours, but that you're not in contact with. When you have it operational, and I'm teaching people to do it with a type of mental yoga, you acquire additional energy bodies like your astral spirit. That is an energy body. Okay? Your etheric Higgs field, that's an energy body. You have more of them that are from off planet. When you get that Merkaba operational, you have access to higher IQ, a lot more information that's galactic, and you also have a vehicle that if the planet explodes, you can flit off with it because it is a vehicle that can also galactic travel. And I think this might be the first time that I've sketched it purple, which is a color of the highest order. So United States is safe, regardless of all the arguing I see going on in X and all over the place. United States is safe. And then the frequencies, which in Canada are flatlining and they're black, in the United States, you have the combination of the blue and pink, which is the perfect combination because that's male, female. And when male and female work together, come together, you get light. That's how electricity is created. I'm not going to go into the story of how I finally figured that out with the help of a gardener. And then at the bottom it says Israel is not happy. I would not have wanted to put there. I don't want Israel to start looking at me. I couldn't care less what you're doing, Israel. Your past history, Israel. You are past history. Your old stuff. You want to hang on? Okay. You want to humiliate people? Okay. You want to bully people, which is what you've done forever? Okay. But you're past. You're not the future. You're not today either. So I want to go back to a map that I did the other day. And I didn't point something out. This was for Jamaica, for Hurricane Melissa. That's black magic on Cuba. Hurricane Melissa was coming in, and yet I was sketching green. So I said, I don't know what's going to go on, but it's certainly better than what it was. And then I didn't mention it, but I had put there, this I did on the 27th, a circle around Puerto Rico, and I said, watch it. Well, today in the news, Puerto Rico now has restricted space. Oh, I thought I had written it here. Now, until I think March, between now, tomorrow, and March, there's a part of Puerto Rico that's restricted space. Let me remind you that Puerto Rico had the biggest electronic equipment for looking for off-planet communication. You don't know, but all Puerto Ricans know about aliens and ETs. They've seen spaceships. I'm not going to say all of them have had contact, but a great many of them. Puerto Rico is a great place for doing any kind of investigations. The US government knows that. You don't know that, but your government does. So, does that have to do with the cartels in the Caribbean? Or does that have to do with the aliens? Or is it all connected? Because the Nazis worked with the aliens. Why not the cartels? Certainly, the Cuban cartel knows all about them. I gave a class decades ago, a weekend, and I invited a friend of mine. It turned out that he was Cuban mafia, Cuban cartel. And it was a weekend class of several people came. It was at least 20, 25 years ago. So the next day, one of the people in the class stayed with me and we went to have coffee. And I was getting into my car. This person who was at my class, who was Cuban mafia, but I didn't know it at that point, was also my accountant. I didn't know it, who he was and that he was just watching me. He ran up to me and I went, "Hi." He said, "Why didn't you talk about the aliens in the class yesterday?" I was like, "What?" And at that point, I was like brain dead, mind controlled. But I remembered it 20 years later. I went, they know a lot. The Cuban cartel. Are they negotiating with bad aliens? Or wouldn't doubt it. But that's not where I'm going right now. Where I am going right now is two things. Elon Musk is talking about this incredible stuff like a flying car. Within months, he's going to have some. Elon, I love you. I think a lot of people are jealous, Elon. I think a lot of people. No, I have to say something. When there is a big gap in human knowledge, like somebody knows a lot and they're with a group of people that don't know a lot, this space is where the devil plays. So, Elon, you're so much more than all the rest of us. All the rest of us are here, and that triggers like an opportunity for the devil to start pinching people and jerking people and whispering in their ear. So it's something that basically you just need to make sure you're very grounded, as in the Lord's Prayer. You cannot be disassociated. Lots of earth element. Water, you're dolphins, so you need to be by water a lot. But you need earth to be protected against everybody's craziness. The spirits take any opportunity. Trump, I need for you to contact the Vatican. I need for you because this is I'm joking about my bangs, looking god awful, my eyebrows. When I get up in the morning, my eyebrows are like this. Your eyebrows are an extension of your mental body. They're cannabinoid receptors. Your mental body is cannabinoid receptors. But I'm getting, I'm not a young chick anymore. And anyway, nobody should have to tolerate this. So maybe send a hint. Don't leave them as the last cartel that you take down. Because when you do it, there's not going to be many people standing up to defend them. There really isn't. That knowledge has been around forever. So you're not going to have to worry about groups of people, and the Catholic Church is going to, everybody who goes to Catholic Church or delivers their children to the Catholic schools so that they can be trained to be great presidents and prime ministers after they were subjected to mind control, because nobody knows mind control better than the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. So help me out here. Make them stop. That would be nice. I could spend my time fixing other things, not stuff that the Catholic Church is doing. I was looking at this. What the hell is this? It's my sign in for GoDaddy. I do not like large companies. I don't like any company associated with larger companies like Microsoft. They're bullies. And okay, so I'm going to give you. I'm going to have a section in these chats. I still have a couple of minutes. I published my book on cannabis. So You see those green lines? You have 72,000 of them. They are called, I call them, the Fox mind strings. Your, your telomeres and your microtubules are also mind strings. And it turns out that mind streams are cannabinoid receptors. What does that mean? That means, how do I get this off screen? That means that your mind loves cannabis. And that means that the devil did a really great job, because people said that cannabis was the food of the devil, but turns out that the food of the devil is fire, which is what causes violence and insomnia and suicide. And cannabis is a female plant that puts out fire. So whoever did the disinformation on cannabis basically does not want you to have a healthy mind. Mind, by the way, is a liquid. It flows through the cannabinoid receptors. Cannabinoid receptors are mind strings. And they are actually in the original Lord's Prayer, where it says that there are knots in the cords and that our strings connect to our enemy. Very interesting once you know this. So I'm going to get you the link to the book. It's only $9.99. And I expect you to get it, and I expect you to read it. And if you want to give comments, you can do it, but I'm not going to get any email from you, because between GoDaddy and YouTube, I can't really get anything from anybody, but at least you will have the information. Okay? And I'm going to give you a link to the music therapy that we have based on the 420 frequency, which is the frequency of cannabis. Okay? So give me a second and I will get you the link. Now, I'm going to get you the 10-hour link, because you should, okay, 20 minutes, 10 hours. Okay. I'm going to get you the 10-hour link. This is the 10-hour link, and you can have it on for 5 minutes, but it's very relaxing. And the frequencies that are not 420, which is cannabis, it's the frequency of the plant. The rest of it was done by a Mexican opera singer called Mauro Calderón. And if you go to that page and you don't want the 10 hours, you just want the 20 minutes or the 2 hours, you can get it there. Now, you have to sign in special to be able to get this on YouTube. You can't just trolley in on YouTube and get a music therapy for your mind that has 420 in it. You have to sign in and you have to say that you're over 18 years of age. Meanwhile, you can have all these videos about killings and all sorts of things. You don't have to sign in. You don't have to say how old you are. But for cannabis, the frequency, oh my God, the aliens are going to have to be really patient with us. Really patient with us. And I'm going to get you right now the link in Amazon, but I have it also on my page. I don't know if it's up yet. Let me see if it's up. For the book for $9.99. Oh my God. There are mistakes in it, but last night I was in such a rage. I just said, just put it up, because we're not having any fun. Anyway, I'm not going to be able to find it. And to find my stuff on Amazon is like almost impossible. But the name of the book is Francis Fox Cannabis. And then underneath it, it's Fox Cannabinoid Mind Streams, because of mind streams. Now, mind streams are cannabinoid receptors. I don't really think you should call something a description of what it does. Mind streams is much more appropriate, but that's okay. That's okay. At least we got there through a back door, but we got there. So you go to Amazon, just put Francis Fox, Francis with an E, not an I, $9.99, and read about cannabis. And you can skip the first chapter, which I explain. Just go to the sketches of what cannabis does to people and go to what the dolphins say cannabis can do for you and your children and your society. And I think you'll be very pleased. I think there's something else. Um, nope, that's it. So the United States is looking extremely stable. The iffy place, the Caribbean was iffy, and Hurricane Melissa was a cartel controlled operation to weaponize a hurricane to take down Cuba, not Jamaica, Cuba, so that they could move their operations to Cuba. But it was done from Guantanamo Bay. So, Trump, you still have cartels totally in control of your military. But I think you know that. Okay, I think that that's it. And I had oh, listen, this whole thing with Charlie Kirk and his death, Christianity should have never been highlighted the way it was. This is not supposed to be a religious country. This is supposed to be a country of free will. And what you do with your spirituality, it should be up to you. So everybody went on with the whole thing with Charlie Kirk because they loved him. But he should be loved and revered. He had an organization that now it turns out seems to be rotten to the core. And his wife is mind control. I told you that. I sketched it. Now you have her messing up our vice president. When you see those pictures of her and them embracing, she has her hand behind his head. They're on stage. She's controlling the narrative. He's not controlling the narrative. He's a friendly guy. If they had been sleeping together, their body language would have been more like this, trying for people not to see that. I don't like that woman, and I don't like that she's creating vulnerabilities at a time in which we don't need more of that. But here we go again with the whole issue of magic. That embrace that she gave Trump, I think was at the funeral. I said there's mind control there. She moved into his body to extend, by the way, cannabinoid receptors, mind streams into Trump, or to attempt to do it, to hook him. And then she can be on the other side of the planet and she's still controlling him through the cannabinoid receptors that you guys didn't know about. So, a lot of people, I think, don't have enough to do, that they're playing around with this whole thing with, well, it looks like they've had sex. Give me a break. She wouldn't have to have had her hand behind his head. She was doing that to control the narrative, and she did. And we're joking around his wife, and we all need our families and our mates to support us. So, Trump, I know you're on the sidelines, and I know you know more than what you tell us that you know. The whole thing, this whole Christian thing, it should have never had the power that it had. In my opinion, you should have never given the organization the support. The man, yes. Charlie Kirk, yes, apparently he was incredible. Absolutely. But not the organization. Because all those cartels, they know how to infiltrate the organizations at the top to where they're in control, not the person that we all love to follow. So I don't know how you're going to fix this, and the problem is that if she is a mind control victim, and she is threatening her and using normal techniques to let her know that everybody won't make a difference. It's like being a Manchurian candidate, but in a female body and with a different set of instructions. The instructions are not to kill somebody, the instructions are to get in as close as possible to the presidency. I need help in getting all this information having to do with magic, mind control, and how all the powerful people on the planet, from countries to the people who control mining, the cartels in mining, the cartels in petroleum, pharmaceuticals is a cartel, by the way. I've known it, I've said it forever. Pharmaceutical reps work for the intelligence community, and they're little robots. So, okay, the whole magic issue is something I'm trying as fast as I can to get you educated on. Go ahead and go to Amazon, Francis Fox Cannabis. It was put up last night. Get the book. It's under $10, one penny under $10, and read it with an open lens, even though I think a lot of the stuff is going to make sense. Okay? Thank you for listening. Now I'm going to go to my chat, and we are going to send light and dragons to the Vatican. We're not going to destroy anything because that's not what my movement does. We're using a mantra, and then we're using visualizations to send light, take light, open windows, open doors. Because where there's light, you don't have Satanism. And where there's light, you don't have 300,000 missing children. Thank you. Bye.